You'll be playing the next gen Xbox console in your living room, in your hands, and probably in many other places. Final Fantasy 16 sales on Xbox continue to counter the narrative that we were seeing coming out earlier last week, with potentially it being a flop in terms of sales on the Xbox console. Battlefield 6 campaign clips have been leaking. Slow Clap talks about Rematch and Crossplay. Nintendo Switch 2 sales are already still insane. And we have a deep dive into the Blood of Dawnwalker, which is an upcoming RPG that looks absolutely phenomenal. So as we know, the next generation Xbox has been announced. It is coming. We don't know exactly what it is, but there is a next generation, and it will be in multiple different forms. It will be at home, connected to your TV in the console format, and then it will also be in your hands via a handheld console, starting this year with the ROG Xbox Ally. And then I think there will be other ones as well, other handhelds and other consoles from other manufacturers. There's a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited about the upcoming next generation for Xbox. And one of the things that was highlighted here, because we already knew about Xbox making more hardware now since basically the business update, when Sarah Bond did say this was happening. But since that business update, everybody was still questioning whether this was going to happen or not. And of course, we got even more confirmation with the recent announcement from Sarah Bond. But Microsoft says it's working on next gen Xbox consoles you'll play in your living room and in your hands. And they are also, of course, working here with AMD. In fact, Sarah Bond announced that there's a strategic multi-year agreement with AMD, and that explaining here, Microsoft is investing in its next generation hardware lineup across console, handheld, PC, cloud, and accessories, and that working with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including, they say here, our next generation Xbox consoles in your living room and in your hands. And that is a line here that potentially means multiple consoles, multiple Xbox consoles, multiple Xbox handhelds, just in the way that she did say that. They say here, there is, of course, quite a bit to unpack in the last sentence, starting with Bond's clear reference to multiple next generation consoles and continuing on the distinction between a machine in your living room and in your hands. While it's entirely possible consoles refers to a dual release strategy similar to the Series X and S, it's hard to ignore the additional allusion to an Xbox branded handheld. But whether that might be an internally developed machine, as previously rumored, or something similar to AMD's recently unveiled Xbox Ally remains to be seen. So that is the question, because we have heard throughout the last week or so the rumors that the Xbox handheld is essentially canceled. They had put it on the back burner and they weren't going to look at it until like 2027. But there's also the discussions now about when is the next Xbox actually going to be coming out, because there are people thinking here that holiday 2026 is going to be the release of the next at-home Xbox console, which to me would be far sooner than we are going to be seeing the PlayStation 6. This is going to be reminding me of the Xbox 360 generation, where Xbox is going to get that jumpstart for probably about a year or so over their console competitor in the PlayStation 6. The PS5 has the luxury now of the PS5 Pro, so they can sit on that for a bit longer. But I think at this point, especially with the Series X and the Series S SKUs, they're getting a little long in the tooth, and developers probably will love to see some more power, something else out there that they can get more from their games. And Xbox probably sees that and thinking that they could start the next generation early. And I guess technically, if you do sit back and think about it, the ROG Xbox Ally releasing this year is kind of that launch into a new strategy of their console releases, with having multiple different styles of Xboxes out there that you're going to be able to go out there and buy. And with that whole integration that they've talked about with being linked to Windows, and pretty much going to have, I think, one version of an Xbox game going forward. I don't think there's going to have to be the multiple console releases and then also a Windows PC release. It'll just be one release, and then it will scale to the platform that you have, basically like it does right now with PCs. I feel like even on the next generation Xbox console, you're going to have those similar PC settings that if you do want to go in there and tinker with the settings of the game, you'll be able to do that. So you'll have games that scale depending on the hardware that you have, and the developers really only will have to make one version of that game. So I think that will help out a lot too, which would mean they can put out new consoles, they can put out new hardware, and then you're just kind of getting those incremental upgrades like you do right now on PC when you're upgrading the different parts of your PC. So that to me is exciting. And of course, that's just my speculation. Right now, we don't know the full plans of what they do have in store, but I think we're going to have multiple different options here for Xbox going forward into the next generation. Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox continues to rise in the top paid games. There was a whole narrative going on. This one was very curious because I actually was reporting on the 22,000 sales on it. And then I sat back and looked at who put this number out there, why they came to this conclusion, because they were looking at reviews. And I thought to myself, there's something off here. This doesn't make any sense. Why so many outlets and so many reports are running with the 22,000 sales of Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. And then just a few days later, we got to see here that Microsoft updated their sales charts on their store where you could see the top paid games, and Final Fantasy 16 continuously was in the top 10, top 12, and it's continuously going up here. So I would take a wild guess here that the 22,000 copies of Final Fantasy 16 sold on the Xbox probably is not correct, and the game is doing better than a lot of people were saying it was early on last week. We actually have Destin here with this tweet saying, if Final Fantasy 16 isn't selling on Xbox, why is it taking up 2 spots on the top paid charts, number 4 and number 9? And the 2 spots here are the expensive one, the full price one, complete edition of Final Fantasy 16 at $70. And then that's at number 4 on this list. And then at number 9, you have Final Fantasy 16, just the base game. And that one is $50. So both copies of Final Fantasy 16 have reached the top 10 in terms of the top paid games on the Xbox charts, at least at the time of that posting. That could be updated tomorrow and it may have fallen down. But as of right now, it definitely looks like it is selling well. And of course, we won't know the exact number and how well it did do until we get the official numbers from Square Enix and when they weigh in on it, which they do on their financial reports, as they did with the sales on PlayStation, where they said it didn't meet expectations, or they were moving away from multi-platform. So that will be very interesting to track. But if you're looking at the charts and you compare it to the narrative at the beginning of last week, it just doesn't add up. They both are completely opposite directions. So I'm interested to see what the truth is, official truth is, once Final Fantasy and once Square Enix has their financial reports. A game that I'm very much looking forward to, that I believe is coming out this year, is Battlefield 6. From all the leaked clips that I've seen, the game looks like it is going to be very cool, and it's going to be a game brought back to form with the destruction and everything. It reminds me of things like Bad Company and stuff. So I can't wait to see more of this game. Graphically looks stunning, and we got another look here at some footage of the single player campaign in the latest Battlefield Labs update. Right now, it is a work in progress footage, but it shows the explosive finale of a mission to destroy a dam in Tajikistan. Now, I'm not going to show it because in case you don't want to see it and all the copyright stuff there, but they do say here that the clip that appeared on social media thanks to Temporal has picked up insane traction in recent hours as Battlefield fans clamor for their first look at a potential single player sequence from the Battlefield 6 campaign. It's highly likely that the clip isn't fully representative of a final sequence, but it's a peek behind the curtain at what EA studios have been cooking all of these years. And I watched it. You can definitely tell this is work in progress footage, but it does look good, and it does look high fidelity, action packed, like exciting, all of that type of stuff here from what you would want from a Battlefield campaign. I can't wait to see this game in its full glory when it is completed, especially graphically. I think this is going to be a phenomenal looking game. And when it's being played on a higher end PC, I think it's going to be pretty crazy, which was, if you remember back with like Battlefield 3 and stuff, it was one of those games where everybody was looking at it as that game to show off your PC or show off your console as to what some of the best graphics were in gaming. So I have a feeling Battlefield 6 will be kind of similar to that. I think this game is going to look absolutely phenomenal. They also go on here to say, follow-up comment under the video, Temporal answered a question from a user concerning the length of the campaign. And they say, so far it looks like we'll be getting a prologue and 8 missions set in various locations, including Egypt, Tajikistan, the USA, and Gibraltar. So that is what we know so far about this campaign. I'm very excited about the campaign. Just like I've been more excited about the campaigns of Call of Duty in recent times, as to be good at these multiplayer games, you have to just play them all the time. And I play so many different things that the campaign is kind of more what I'm leaning towards too with these FPS games. So I hope they put the time into the campaign to make it worthwhile and make it a good one here for the people who want to play the single player experience. One game, even though I just said I'm looking forward to the single player campaigns for the FPS games, one game that I am playing in terms of multiplayer recently is Rematch, because this is a very, very fun game. It's basically Rocket League soccer, but there's a lot of strategy involved with this. You could jump in and play quick matches. It goes by fast. And I like that when I just have a few minutes to play, to jump in and play a game of it. Lots of fun. There's definitely issues with it, things that need to be balanced and fixed, and it's all going to come into time because the game just launched and they will continue to fix it. They already hit 1 million players, so this one I think will be here to last. One of the things that is absolutely plaguing Slow Clap and plaguing Rematch is crossplay functionality. It is coming, but it was not here at launch, and Slow Clap did comment on this. They say, "We understand many of you were looking forward to playing Rematch across platforms from day one." And they say, "We did our utmost to include crossplay at launch, but Rematch is the studio's first crossplay title, and we faced unforeseen technical complexities which prevented us from having this feature ready in time. We should have communicated as soon as it became apparent that crossplay wouldn't be available at launch, and we're sorry for the inconvenience and frustration it caused to some of our players." And they added here, they feel it's very important for Rematch players to be able to play with their friends no matter the platform. Because of that belief, getting crossplay working fully in Rematch is their absolute highest priority. So I do believe we will be seeing Rematch have crossplay relatively soon. They just didn't get it for the launch. I'm interested in how hard it is to get that running, because most games now are actually launching with crossplay with their multiplayer. But it's a great game, and I can't wait for them to just flesh out and improve upon the things that is holding it back. And crossplay is definitely one of those things. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 sales, it's just killing every other platform out there. It's outselling the PS5, it's outselling Xbox and at the launch. And we have even more here, that the Nintendo Switch 2 has already outsold the PS5 Digital Edition and the Xbox Series X and S consoles in Japan's lifetime sales, which is just crazy to think about. This is what they see. This is according to Nintendo Life, that the Switch 2 has recorded 1.1 million in lifetime sales, and it's still got some way to catch up to the Switch 1's 20 million lifetime sales, or the Lite and the OLED versions. However, it's an impressive start by all metrics. They say if you look at the data more deeply, we can see that the PS5 Digital Edition, which they're presuming is the slim one, has accounted for 975,000 in sales, and the Switch 2 has already passed it by a good margin. And then when it comes to Xbox, if you take a look at the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, you total them together, they have sold 679,000, meaning the Switch 2 has already single-handedly doubled this generation's Xbox lifetime Japanese sales in a few weeks. And this is a launch with one Nintendo exclusive, Mario Kart World, one new Nintendo exclusive. Yes, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which looks phenomenal, is coming out in July, but one big one at launch, and it's still sold like crazy. So it's very, very impressive what Nintendo has been able to create here in terms of the popularity of the brand, their console, and just the overall mind share of people who want to get a Nintendo console no matter what. I think a lot of people as well who buy Nintendo consoles may not even be their primary one. They may play on many different places, but because of what Nintendo does bring, the uniqueness of it, people go out there and pick it up right away. The price didn't really have an effect at all. And I know Japan had a lower price, but even around the world, the sales were very, very good. So the price with this Nintendo Switch 2 didn't affect people going out and buying it. And the other thing here that I think puts it above both console launches with PlayStation and Xbox in recent time is they had inventory. There was no shortage of inventory. I think you can even go in today. I know around where I live, you can go in today to AEB Games and get a Nintendo Switch 2, no problem. So the inventory thing plays a major role here in just how successful this console has been at launch. And finally, we will take a look at this. I will just play the video and I will go over Some updates here for Blood of the Dawnwalker, which just looks like it is going to be such a cool game. It is an upcoming big RPG here that is like The Witcher with vampire and everything. And they gave us a 21-minute deep dive into this game. And here is everything you need to know about Blood of the Dawnwalker. Shinobi 602 here did a nice update on the game and just a breakdown of what this gameplay overview has. It is a new action RPG. It is the first chapter of a new saga from Rebel Wolves and Bandai Namco coming to the PS5, Xbox, and PC in 2026. Currently, it's in the pre-beta stage of production. It has the game director from The Witcher 3, led Conrad Tomaskiewicz, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Matthias Tomaskiewicz, who is the quest director on The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. So they have the pedigree from The Witcher, from Cyberpunk together making this game. They say the goal of combat is to make you feel like a real swordsmaster who closely observes his enemies. You choose one of 4 directions while attacking up, down, left, and right to hit opponents where they're unable to parry. When defending, you must watch the direction of enemies' attacks. There are activation charges that they say here filled in with each successful attack or block or parry. You can then activate them to use an ability. You have 3 trees for upgrading here: human, vampire, and the human vampire shared tree. And so this game incorporates the whole vampire thing as well, which is pretty cool. They say enemies and guards will become more suspicious and hostile the more damage you cause out in the world during the day. Stealthing at night can help keep you undiscovered. You can access areas at night as a vampire, run on rooftops, scale walls, ceilings, etc., that you can't as a human during the day, changing how quests play out. That just sounds super cool to me. Time of the day can change, things like a powerful boss showing up in a quest, for example. You can investigate your surroundings and gain clues during quests. You can replenish your health by drinking blood. If you accidentally drink the blood and kill an important NPC in the game, it may lead to unexpected consequences during the story. Phenomenal to me. That sounds so cool. I mean, that is one of the things I look forward to with these types of RPGs from the people that make these ones like The Witcher and stuff, is just the consequences of the different actions that you take throughout the world. They say you can also drink blood from animals and other creatures if you don't want to harm innocent humans. There's blood guards that are powerful enemies specializing in taking on vampires and dual wield swords. There are multiple romance options that affect Cohen's personal story. Quests that advance the day-night cycle will be marked so players know if time will move forward or not, exactly how much time will pass. You can explore the open world freely, and that doesn't move time forward. There's not a timer that hangs over your shoulder the whole time. The whole world map is fully accessible to the player from the start of the game, so that's cool. Magic in the game is dark, ritualistic, and dangerous, not to be toyed with. Cohen has to carve runes into his own body to cast spells. You can find forgotten spells out in the world to learn and grow stronger. Every spell can be upgraded. Burning Blood, which is an offensive spell you can cast where the blood of the enemies boil from the inside. There's Compel Soul, which is a spell that you can use on dead NPCs to temporarily bring them back to life, learn secrets or things that can completely change quest lines. And finally here, not all spells are offensive. Many revolve around support buffs. So this is Blood of the Dawnwalker coming in 2026. We don't have an official release date yet, but this game to me, I think is going to be one of those big, great games coming out next year because of the pedigree behind it, because of how cool it looks from this 20-minute deep dive video, all the things that you can do. And I love that kind of change of your abilities and how you're going to take on quests in the day as a human versus the night as a vampire. So I'm pretty pumped for this one. I can't wait to see more about it. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.